Mountains in Kazakhstan are divided to high elevation and low elevation areas. The low elevation areas include so-called Yellow Steppe, or Saryarka, located in the center of Kazakhstan. The length of Saryarka is 1,200 kilometers, and the highest point reaches 1,565 meters. Despite the fact that Saryarka is a steppe, there are still many mountain peaks. The highest of them are Aksaran, 1,565 meters, and Karkarali Mountains, 1,403 meters. The yellow sands and mountains of Saryarka have numerous small blue lakes with clear water. Because of that, the mountain regions of Saryarka are also called Little Switzerland, as the natural landscapes are amazingly similar to the ones in Switzerland. A large territory of Kazakhstan borders many regions in Central Asia, so no wonder that in southeast and northeast Kazakhstan is surrounded by some of the world's largest mountain systems, Altai and Tian Shan. Altai, or to be exact, the southwestern part of the Altai-Sayone mountain system, is in the northeast of Kazakhstan. Southern Altai, Western Altai, and Kalbinsky Ridge belong to the Kazakhstan part of the Altai-Sayone mountain system. The Markakol Basin, with a beautiful lake having similar name, is located on the territory of Southern Altai, between Azutau and Sarutau ridges, at the elevation of around 1,500 meters. The symbol of Altai, Mount Belukha, the highest peak of Altai, is located at the border of Kazakhstan and Russia. This mountain is considered sacred by different cultures. Buddhists, for instance, think that the legendary Shambhala is located here. Another large mountain system of the Kazakhstan mountains is Zhungar Alatau. The longest mountain range of Zhungar Alatau is the northern one, whose mountain ridges reach the height of 4,560 meters. The peaks of the ridges are covered in permanent snow and glaciers that sometimes reach the length of up to 8 kilometers. Rare kinds of animals inhabit the west of Zhungar Alatau, in the mountain and Piedmont valleys: wild sheep, mountain goats, and beautiful Central Asian gazelles. The Tian Shan Mountains are located in the southeast of Kazakhstan. The Kazakhstan part of Tian Shan includes the northern, western, and central Tian Shan. Rare kinds of animals included in the Red Book dwelling in the mountains land: snow leopard and Tian Shan bear. The territory of central Tian Shan has one of the world's steepest mountain peaks, Han Tengri, that is around 7,000 meters high. Kazakhstan has two subspecies of the brown bear: white-clawed or Tian Shan brown bear that dwells in the mountains of Tian Shan and Zhungar Alatau, and the common or Eurasian brown bear, which lives in the mountain forests of Altai and Saur. They are the largest animals and some of the most noticeable representatives of the country's fauna. There is no common opinion regarding the subspecies belonging to the bear living in Altai. Most specialists think it is the common brown bear that lives here, but some recognized zoologists segregate separate South Siberian subspecies and consider that Siberia as well as Altai has a population of white bears having intermediate position between the European West Siberian and Far Eastern subspecies, which perhaps is worth identifying as separate subspecies. However, this matter is still unsolved, and it is waiting for its adventurous researchers. There is a so-called transient border from one form to another which along the border of Sau, Tarbagatai and northern ridges of Jungar-Alatau. But still in Jungaria we think that we have the Tanshan bear, and the kind of species in Sau Tarbagatai is still not identified. Based on the recent works considering the systematics of the bears, we may say that Saur and Tarbagatai have Eurasian brown bear. Also, before these bear inhabited the island and mountain forests in the northern half of Kazakhstan. The mountains of Jungar-Alatau have a transient type of bears between the typical form and Tanshan forms of bears. The bears from the southwestern part of the ridge take the transient position between dark and light bears. It should be noted that the bears with very light coloration that look like Tanshan bears can be found in South Altai. The color and the size difference tends to be more common for a larger size more to the east of Kazakhstan, just like for the whole habitat. The same is for the color. In the south, the bears have lighter color. In the east, they have darker shades of fur. The main food source for the bears are the underground and surface parts of plants, roots, stems, leaves of cow parship, rhubarb, onions or bear's onions, and others. Feeding on grasses, fruits, different berries is noticed in summer. The plant food has around 81 items to it. However, the animals are also included in the bear's food list, such as an ant larvae, possibly the larvae of wild bees. Also some insects, of course, the hoofed animals as well, but those are most of the animals that died due to natural causes. We don't have bears hunting here too often, still we get such cases. One of the most frequent objects for the bears' attacks is the grey marmot, the Altai creeper and other rodents whose holes get dug by bear until it reaches the animal hidden there. The Tanshan subspecies is also known as the white-clawed brown bear. This bear has a relatively small size compared to other subspecies. Its body length is up to 140 centimeters, weight up to 300 kilograms. Its coat is light brown or almost yellow and often has a white necktie. Its particular feature are long bright claws on front paws. However, it is not the dominant feature, and there are transient forms with darker and even striped claws. They have estrus in May to June. Their cubs are born from January to February. The litter might have 1 to 3 cubs, often 2. The female delivers the litter once every 2 years, or even less than that. In general, it is a good indicator that remains like that for the past few years. We often see mother bear with 2 cubs, sometimes with 1 cub. The young die due to some unknown reasons, or they might even get lost. The bears themselves represent great danger during the estrus season. Large males may often kill their young. The Tanshan subspecies in Kazakhstan is common for Tanshan, Karajantau, Ugamsky, Kyrgyz, Zailysky, Kungay, Tersky, Ketmen ridges, as well as Jungar-Alatau with mountain massives Altenemel, Toksanbay, Khoyaptudau, Kaikan in periphery. The eastern border of their habitat is not clear. Specific subspecies belonging to the bears from Tarbagatai and Saur mountain regions requires further study. At the end of the 19th and early 20th century, the bear was common in most of Tanshan and Jungar-Alatau. Later their number dropped everywhere, and in all areas where the bear used to be common, it does not exist anymore. main threat and reason for the drop down in the number of Tanshan brown bear in Kazakhstan is the illegal hunting, poaching. Also the threat is the degradation and reduced area of their common habitat due to human expansion as well as due to the climate change. The disturbance factor due to the increased number of tourists might also be the threat leading to displacement of the bear from its common habitat. One of the biggest problems in the mountains at this moment is the fact that people leave a lot of garbage. Here we should remember the serious problems with bears in Yellowstone National Park, which is a well-known scientific fact, when the bears were attracted by litter, garbage, food leftovers, and finally they quit being afraid of people and began to attack people. And here, in Ilialatau National Park in particular, where lots of tourists are coming especially during the summer season, they throw away a lot of garbage, and we might get the same situation. That's why we keep seeing bears on tourist paths. The bears get closer to the tourist camps, to campfires, I mean. People saw their tracks and saw the bears themselves near the camps where tourists often come to stay. As time goes by, we might get to a situation when people will start facing bears very close. This is a very negative fact, and unfortunately, such negative animals are usually eliminated, which means they have to be killed. And since the bear is included in the Red Book, I think we should avoid such situations. The bear's competitors, in regards with the plant food, grass plants, fruits, are domestic and wild-hooved animals, rodents, some carnivores, birds. However, the influence of such competitiveness does not seem to be felt. The mid-mountain paths covered with open woods or forest regrowth interchanged with meadows, forest-free slopes often covered by bushes, are loved by the largest representatives of the red deer of Eurasia, Maral. The natural enemies for marals are wolves. One predator is usually not enough for hunting the fully grown deer. It is only the pack that can hunt for the large animal. The deer protect themselves by hooves, and males use their horns. The lynx, wolverine, and bear hunt the red deer as well. The predators usually kill young deer or weak and sick animals. Marals mostly dwell in the mountains. They keep in the broken relief and forests. Marals find the suitable biotopes in the juniper, pine and fir forests, in birch groves, bushes on the slopes and cedar forests, and in the pine wood. During the summer, the males get above the forest line to alpine meadows and high-elevation tundras. In winter, after the snowfall, the area covered with the red deer is rapidly reduced, sometimes 2 to 3 times. Most of the high elevation areas get a lot of snow, and the animals are forced to get lower where the snow is not as deep. Besides, the available slopes of different exposition give them the choice of so-called snow shadow, with less snow, as well as the sunny slopes. Uneven snow distribution in mountains allows the deer to move and find food, even in the areas where there is much more snow than on spacious flatlands with unequal precipitation. Compared to the maral in their neighborhood, the bears have clear seasonal cycles of life. In spring, usually in early March, the large males come out. They rush down where the snow is melting and start to feed on the first grass, some roots remaining after winter, possibly with the remaining apples, fruit that stayed under the snow. This usually happens in March, and female with children comes out closer to April. They come out at the time when the snow is melting down below and move to lower mountain belts with wild fruit forests, lower part of pine woods, and after some time closer to summer they slowly move up to the mountains as the air temperature rises. More and more they move to much cooler places where the snow still hasn't melted. It is mostly the alpine meadows, upper belts of the pine forest, and they keep on feeding there. By the wintertime, the bear puts on some fat and shifts to its den. In the fall, the bear dens are located in dry places, mostly in holes covered with fallen trees or under the uprooted trees. The bears here hibernate mostly up high in the mountains all over Kazakhstan, both in Altai and here in Tian Shan. They prefer natural hiding places and rock niches. They almost never dig ground holes here. They don't dig, and very rarely you can find some bear holes. It is mostly the niches in the rocks. This usually happens in the middle of November, when the bears move high to the mountains, before heavy snowfall, when it completely covers the rocks. When there will be no second wave of melting, when the snow will stay solid, and the bear uses its internal instincts to identify the time for hibernation. They usually hibernate at the height of 2,000 to 3,600 meters. The winter hibernation for the Tian Shan bears lasts from 5 to 7 months, from the middle of October until the middle of April. It is mostly active at dark time and at night. In the mountains, the bears keep moving vertically, depending on the food available. Early in the spring, after hibernation, in holes more often located in the alpine and subalpine belts, they get down to the foothills and keep at the mountain slopes where the vegetation gets earlier. In May they start moving higher, and by the middle of the summer, most bears stay in the upper part of the forest belt, in subalpine and alpine belts. By the time the berries have ripened in the end of the summer, the bears concentrate in the places with lots of berries, mostly in the forest belt, and in the fall they start moving closer to the bear hole areas. The Tian Shan bear is slightly separate kind. I mean, this kind lives in the mountains, and such a unique property is in the fact that bears are usually attached to the forest ecosystems all over their habitat. For instance, we have some regions like western Tian Shan almost without any forest, only with some juniper groves, tree-like juniper, and you can call it open slopes, but still bears live there. The main areas where the Tian Shan brown bear lives in western Tian Shan are the forests of tree-like juniper, as well as the groves of apple tree, nuts, hawthorn, the eastern part of the Kyrgyz Ridge, Zaili Alatau, Ketmen, Kungay and Tersky, have pine trees with some mix of broadleaf trees. Jungar Alatau has pine or fir woods, as well as birch, aspen and apple tree groves. Almost every forest has underwood of honeyberry, raspberry, rose ships and blackcurrant. The animals also spend some time of the year in forest-free areas below or above the forest belt border.